The Witcher Season 4 ends with a tangled web of destiny, deception, and bloodshed, perfectly setting up the stage for the franchise's grand finale. With Liam Hemsworth stepping into Geralt's boots, the season wastes no time plunging us into a brutal, emotionally charged world where every character's choices ripple through the continent. But as the dust settles, one thing becomes clear. Everyone's road now leads to Stygga Castle, the place where destiny, prophecy, and chaos will collide. Welcome back to your nerdy show. I'm your host, Spoiler Master. Let's break down everything that happened in The Witcher Season 4's ending, what it really means for Geralt, Ciri, and Yennefer, and how it all sets up the show's fifth and final season. Geralt and Yennefer's mission to save Ciri. Season 4 opens with Geralt and Yennefer on separate paths, both believing that Ciri has fallen into Emperor Emhyr's hands. What they don't know is that Vilgefortz, ever the manipulator, has delivered an imposter to Nilfgaard, leaving the real Ciri far from the political games of kings and sorcerers. Instead, the real Ciri has embraced a darker side of herself, living among the infamous outlaw group known as the Rats. She's taken on a new name, Falka, and it's not just a disguise. It's a reflection of her growing anger and the shadows inside her. This new identity hints at the bloody destiny she's been running from since Season 1. While Ciri's off embracing chaos, Geralt's journey toward Nilfgaard becomes its own epic saga, traveling with Jaskier, Milva, and eventually joined by Zoltan, Yarpen, Regis the vampire, and even Cahir. Geralt leads a ragtag band of misfits towards what seems like an impossible goal, rescuing Ciri and surviving long enough to tell the tale.
I will take it.
The battle for the bridge and Geralt's new title. The road to Nilfgaard leads Geralt straight into one of the most defining moments of his life, the battle for the bridge on the Yaraga River. The Northern Army, led by Queen Meve of Rivia, faces certain defeat until Geralt and his companions step in. Their intervention turns the tide of the battle, allowing Meve to cross safely. As a reward, the Queen knights Geralt, officially naming him Geralt of Rivia. The irony is sharp. For years, Geralt had used the title as a fabricated name to sound more trustworthy. Now, it's real. But this knighthood isn't just a medal of honor. It's a shackle. By becoming a Knight of Rivia, Geralt is now bound to serve Queen Meve, meaning he can no longer freely pursue his quest to find Ciri. The title that once gave him freedom and identity now becomes the very thing that chains him. It's a cruel twist of destiny, and one that feels all too fitting for a man cursed by it. Emhyr's desperation and his plan to kill Geralt. Meanwhile, in Nilfgaard, Emperor Emhyr's grip on power begins to falter. He's announced his engagement to the false Ciri to strengthen his claim to Sintra, but the lie is fragile. Too many people know the truth, and the illusion of control is slipping through his fingers. So Emhyr turns to a new plan: eliminate the one-man destiny has bound to Ciri, Geralt of Rivia. According to Emhyr's twisted logic, Ciri's fate is tied to Geralt's survival. As long as the Witcher lives, Ciri's destiny is bound to him, not her father. If Geralt dies, that link will be severed, allowing Emhyr to fulfill the ancient prophecy that promises his daughter's power will shape the world. To make matters worse, Emhyr enlists the help of his scheming advisor, Stefan Skellen, and prepares a horrifying weapon. The Emperor plans to unleash a monster to hunt Geralt, but not just any monster. In a darkly poetic twist, Emhyr uses Renfri's brooch, once Geralt's most cherished keepsake, to track his scent. This is the same token that once represented Geralt's conscience he'd abandoned for Ciri's sake. Now, the same token that once represented Geralt's conscience becomes the bait in a deadly trap. The irony is brutal. The man who swore to protect Ciri is being hunted because of the love that once made him whole.
Ciri's fall into darkness, and Leo Bonhart's arrival. While Emhyr schemes from afar, another villain has already found the real Ciri. Enter Leo Bonhart. a name that sends shivers through anyone who's read Sapkowski's books. Bonhart isn't just a bounty hunter. He's a monster in human skin, a sadistic killer who delights in hunting witchers and revels in their pain. Hired by Skellen, Bonhart sets out to capture the real Ciri and destroy the outlaw gang she's joined, the Rats. What follows is one of the darkest chapters in Ciri's story yet. When Bonhart's trap is sprung, Ciri rushes to save her friends, but she's too late. The Rats are slaughtered. Mistel, the one person who made her believe in love again, is brutally murdered. Bonhart defeats Ciri and takes her captive. The final image of her in Season 4 is burned into memory, bound to a pillar, forced to watch as Bonhart decapitates Mistel's corpse in front of her. It's a scene that cements Bonhart as one of the most terrifying antagonists in the Witcher universe, and pushes Ciri into a new phase of her journey, one fueled by vengeance, trauma, and the awakening of powers she can barely control.
Please don't do this!
Yennefer's war against Vilgefortz. On another front, Yennefer's war is far from over. The fall of Aretuza left the Brotherhood of Sorcerers fractured, but Yennefer rallies the surviving mages at Montecalvo to form a new resistance against Vilgefortz. Together with Vesemir and the Witchers, they mount a desperate defense. But Vilgefortz, being the master manipulator he is, blocks all magical portals, cutting them off from reinforcements. The tide only turns when Istrid sacrifices himself, a heartbreaking act that undoes the portal barrier and allows Yennefer to mount one final pursuit. After the battle, Vilgefortz retreats to Stygga Castle, his dark fortress and the next major stage of the story. Determined to end his tyranny for once and for all, Yennefer uses Triss's help to portal as close to Stygga as possible. But the magic misfires. Yennefer ends up in the middle of the ocean, and in one of the most haunting visuals of the season, she begins swimming toward a swirling vortex, the only way to reach Vilgefortz's lair. It's a metaphorical image as much as a literal one. Yennefer diving headfirst into the chaos she's tried to escape her entire life.
Good luck chasing destiny.
Strybog and Nimue, the future of the Witcher's legacy. Throughout Season 4, two mysterious figures bookend the story. Strybog, the wandering storyteller, and Nimue, a curious young girl captivated by his tales of Geralt, Yennefer, and Ciri. By the season's end, Nimue reappears as an adult, preparing to train as a mage at Aretuza. She reveals that she feels an unexplainable connection to Ciri, one that transcends time itself. Book readers know exactly what this means. In the Witcher novels, Nimue eventually meets Ciri, who becomes lost traveling through time and space. Recognizing Ciri's need to fulfill her destiny, Nimue helps her find her way, literally opening a portal that sends her to Stygga Castle, where everything will come to a head.
Iskra was right. Ciri would come back for them.
What Geralt's future looks like after Season 4. Geralt's knighthood may have earned him respect, but it's also a curse in disguise. In the books, Queen Meve refuses to release him from his duties, forcing him to disobey her and flee. If Netflix follows that route, we'll likely see Geralt on the run from the very kingdom he just saved. Eventually, Geralt's journey takes him to Toussaint, where he's manipulated into staying by the sorceress Fringilla Vigo. However, because the Netflix version of The Witcher has changed several relationships, particularly Geralt and Yennefer's bond, the show may skip or modify this part entirely. Instead, all signs point toward a reunion at Stygga Castle, where Geralt will finally cross paths with his greatest enemies, Vilgefortz, Emhyr, and Bonhart, and where his destiny with Ciri and Yennefer will finally converge. How Season 4 sets up The Witcher's final chapter. By the end of Season 4, every major thread is pulling toward one explosive conclusion. Geralt has been targeted by Emhyr and may soon be hunted by the monster tied to Renfri's brooch. Ciri is in Leo Bonhart's captivity, broken and furious, but more powerful than ever. Yennefer is mere steps away from confronting Vilgefortz, unaware that she's walking straight into a trap. Stygga Castle will be the setting for the story's ultimate reckoning. In the books, this is where Yennefer is captured and tortured by Vilgefortz. Ciri is forced into brutal combat, and Geralt finally faces the man who has haunted them all. If Season 5 follows this arc, we're looking at an emotional storm, a mix of vengeance, sacrifice, and destiny fulfilled. Ciri's new powers, hinted at through Nimwe's story, may finally awaken, allowing her to break through time and space itself. But perhaps the biggest question remains: how closely will Netflix follow the ending of the books? In Sapkowski's novels, Geralt and Yennefer's journey ends in tragedy, their fates sealed in Rivian bloodshed, with Ciri left to wander new worlds. Whether Netflix stays true to that ending or offers something different will define how this adaptation is remembered. The meaning behind it all. Season 4 isn't just a bridge to the finale. It's a story about loss, destiny, and the cost of love. Every major character faces a form of irony tied to their identity. Geralt, the man who swore to remain neutral, becomes the very symbol of destiny's interference. Ciri, born to be a savior, finds herself losing her humanity to survive. Yennefer, once obsessed with power, learns that love is her most dangerous weapon. And Emhyr, who claims to fight for family, becomes its destroyer. Each of them is trapped in a loop of choices that define who they are and what they're willing to sacrifice. The Witcher Season 4's ending reminds us that destiny isn't a chain, it's a mirror. And every time these characters try to escape it, they only end up confronting themselves.
Soldiers.
Our nerdy thoughts. With The Witcher Season 5 set to bring these arcs to a close, the stakes have never been higher. The continent is on the brink of chaos, the prophecy looms larger than ever, and three lives, Geralt, Yennefer, and Ciri, are finally converging for one last battle against fate itself. Whether destiny grants them peace or destruction, one thing is certain: the Witcher story is about to end where it all began, with a choice, a sacrifice, and a legend that will echo for centuries.
No, what the heck, I'll laugh anyway.